Earlier in May, Donald Trump met with Henry Kissinger, and they said that they spoke about foreign policy. Then Trump went out into the media and said that Kissinger totally supports him on his position on foreign affairs. Of course, this turned out not to be quite so true, as Henry Kissinger made the following statement. On foreign policy, you identify many key problems. I do not generally agree with the solutions. One-shot outcomes are probably not possible. Now, aside from the fact that Kissinger doesn't agree 100% with what Donald Trump says on foreign policy, I think it's important here that rather than focusing on the fact that they don't agree, let's focus on why they were discussing it to begin with. Why would Henry Kissinger be interested in talking to Donald Trump about foreign policy issues? See, now, Henry Kissinger is a part of an organization called the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. This is significant because the Council on Foreign Relations is basically the think tank that determines what U.S. foreign policy is. And a lot of people attach this to some kind of conspiracy to control the world, when really all it is the nerve center, the brain of U.S. imperialism that comes up with all the different policies and strategies that should be carried out. The Council on Foreign Relations, founded in 1921, is a United States 4,900-member organization, nonprofit, publisher, and think tank specializing in U.S. foreign policy and international affairs. It's headquartered in New York City with an additional office in Washington, D.C. Its membership has included senior politicians, more than a dozen secretaries of state, CIA directors, bankers, lawyers, professors, and senior media figures. It promotes globalization, free trade, reducing financial regulations on transnational corporations, and economic consolidation into regional blocs such as NAFTA or the European Union, and develops policy recommendations that reflect these goals. In other words, this is the brain of U.S. imperialism. They're the ones that come up with the ideas, how to carry it out, the policies, etc. Now, why this is significant is that Donald Trump is meeting with them, and there's a lot of people within the capitalist class that are nervous about what he might actually do if he gets elected, which it's starting to look like he actually might. What is he really going to do? What are his real foreign policies? Because some of the stuff he said are outright acts of war, and so you can imagine they're probably getting really concerned. So what I could probably see was he went to Kissinger, who's a very important man in these kind of circles, like the Trilateral Commission or the Council of Foreign Relations, and said, okay, don't worry, I'm still going to take your recommendations. We're still going to operate on the basis of trying to make as much money as possible and manipulate, geopolitics in our favor, just as we've always done. And Kissinger said, do I have your word on that? He goes, yes, don't worry about it. This is largely an act. So then he goes back to me and says, don't worry, Kissinger and I are on the same page, and everything's cool. And then Kissinger says, well, because people only know of what Donald Trump said publicly. Well, we didn't really say that we agree with that. That's not what we said, but we identified key problems. In other words, the conversation that went on behind the scenes between Donald Trump, the wild card, and the capitalist class was really just him telling them that, don't worry, I'm not really a crazy. I'm just doing this to get elected. I'm still going to carry on the empire as usual. And that's what I really believe that was actually about. So far from this idea that Donald Trump is some kind of crazy alt-right person, he is certainly very smart and does understand in the end who owns the system and whose interests he has to follow. Thank you for watching. Why don't you go ahead, rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media. And if you want, you can head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you could head over to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available.